Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies yet again. Welcome to my studio here in central UK. If you've not seen me before, I'm Simon Henry, and this is where we meet to talk all things yarn craft. So today we're going to look at, by request, I've had some new yarn from Temu, and I've mentioned before that the different ways that I test it. One of the ways is I do a burn test, and quite a few people have asked me to show them the burn test. And in today's hate section, we've really got a doozy. It's really good. That's at the end. Stay tuned. So when I get yarn from sources that I'm not 100% sure about, there are manufacturers and suppliers that I use for example, the couture business. There are yarn manufacturers that send me things to write patterns for, and those I know 100%. I'm absolutely certain that that yarn is exactly what it says it is and what the manufacturers are saying. When I buy from places, for example Temu, I'm not 100% sure what I'm getting. To be fair, the vast majority of the yarn I've got from there is, or it appears to be, exactly what it says on the label. So some of the things that I do to test are a little bit complicated and probably more at the professional end of the industry, but there are quite a few tests that you can carry out yourself at home, one of which is the burn test, which is really easy to do, and I've been asked to show how you do it. So here's that little video over at the desk, and I'll see you when we're done. Okay, so what we're going to need is a lighter or something to set fire to your yarn with, a little bowl or a saucer or something, but put a little bit of water in there so that if you're going to lose control of what you've set on fire, you can soon drop it in there. And then we're going to have the wool or the yarn that we want to test, wherever it is, there it is. But also to start with, so you can get used to how this works, have some yarn that you know 100% what it actually is. Please excuse my nails, they look dirty, but they're actually not. My fingers are dirty because I've been testing some yarn today, but for those who know my day job at the moment, before I retire, I have a hairdressing salon, and this is Lady Nicola's colour from yesterday that's down my fingernails. Hello Lady Nicola if you're watching. So this is yarn that I know already 100%. I trust the manufacturers. I know exactly where it's come from, and I know this is 100% acrylic yarn. So this is the first thing we're going to do, is just to have a look how this burns and what happens to it when we light it. Do this in a well ventilated area, or you do it by an open window. Some of these yarns give off toxic fumes when they're lit. Just really bear that in mind. So we're just going to light this and see what happens. So I just lit that and let it burn for a second or two, and as you can see, it creates a little bubble. Let me get it in undershot. it creates a little bubble there, and when we rub it, it's actually hard. So that has actually melted rather than burnt. So we know, and we already know, that this is 100% acrylic. This yarn, I know for definite, is 100% wool. I know exactly where it's come from. I even know the sheep farm that the yarn has come from, so I know for an absolute fact that this is 100% wool. So we're going to light that now and see what happens. It's a little bit more difficult to set fire to wool when it's pure wool, and it's got a very distinctive smell, wool, when it burns. If you've ever burnt your hair on the grill or your eyebrows, you'll know what burning hair smells like. When we rub the end of this now, we can see it just turns to ash. And if we rub it and pull it about, you can see all the yarn that we set fire to is just ash. There's nothing hard in there. There's no kind of melted plastic feeling. It's literally just ash. So we know that this is 100% natural fibre. We don't necessarily know from this particular test what that natural fibre is, but we know 100% that that is that. So now we're going to come on to testing some yarn to see if it is what it says it is. This is some yarn that I bought that claims to be 100% merino wool. I'm fairly certain by the feel of it and the way it behaved that that it isn't, but this is one of the tests that we can use to find out what it actually is. So we're going to light the end of that, and by the way that burnt, it fizzes a little bit, and some of the smell of it, I do know already that there's some natural fibre in there, but because it's made this ball on the end, let me see if I can get that for you. Hold on, let me focus right in. Let me come onto the table and see if you can see. Because it's made this kind of melted ball on the end, we also know that in there is definitely some synthetic. This claims to be 100% natural. By that test we know it actually isn't. There is some natural fibre in there, because we know by the way it burnt and the fact that some of it burnt to ash. You can see the, hold on, the mess on my fingers. But we know now that that's not what it says it is. So for me, this is not a trusted manufacturer, and I won't be buying from them again. This one claims to be 100% cashmere, and this was a yarn that I've actually already reviewed, so I already know what the results of this test is going to be, but let me show you now. Now I can see that the way that burnt, it burnt very quickly. It fizzed up a little bit. However, it's just all turned to ash. Can you see the ash on my fingers? And there's nothing hard, there's nothing kind of melted that's left behind on there. So I know for sure that this is natural fibre. I'm not entirely sure what that natural fibre is. This actually went through some dye tests and all kinds of stuff, and I'm fairly sure, because of the other tests that I do, and also looking at the way it's spun and the length of the hair that's in there, I'm fairly sure that this is exactly what it says it is. But for you, that will give you an indication. It's natural fibre, it knits up like cashmere, it feels like cashmere, So it probably is. It probably is. There are more tests that I would need to put that through before I could say 100% it is what it is. This one, I'm not sure what it is. I lost the label on it, so I don't know what it claims to be. It feels to me like there's some maybe cotton in there, and it also feels like there's some fluffiness going on. It feels like there's some wool in there, but I also suspect there's some synthetic in there as well. So let's have a little look at this one. You can see that burnt quite differently to the last one. There was no fizz. And also the smell of it, for me, is a little bit plasticky. However, there is quite a lot of natural fibre in there. As you can see, the dirt on my fingers, but it does leave a small amount of hard melted stuff on the end. So I suspect this is what I thought it was. It feels to me like it's cotton wool and probably acrylic that's in there as a mix. So the way to do it, the way to learn to do this yourself, is test first yarn that you know 100% what it is, and see what happens to it when you burn it. That will give you a very good impression then of what's going to happen to yarn that you don't know exactly what it is. You'll see with this one, if it leaves a little melted bubble on the end, it's more likely to be, and there was no ash on that one, there's nothing coming off on my fingers, and the bubble stays there. So that's a synthetic fibre. This one that we knew, after I kind of rubbed the end, it was just ash and nothing plasticky or melted left behind there. It also fizzed a little bit when it was lit and smelt like you'd burnt your eyebrows on the grill. Don't ask me how I know. So I hope that's given you an insight. When I talk about, and I've tested the yarn and I do a burn test, I hope that's given you an insight into how I do that. There's a lot more involved than I've told you, because there are lots of other things that we look for. But for you at home, rather than us in industry, that's enough of a way of testing the product is what it says it is on the label. You've got a starting point there because you already know what the manufacturers are telling you. Really, this is to just confirm that it is what it says. I do also put yarn through other tests to find out if there's anything synthetic in there. One of which is a dye test. When I'm dyeing something large and I've got a large batch, I use industrial dye, but there's lots of dyes on places like Amazon that you can go and have a look that work on natural fibres, and dyes that work on natural fibres only. Those are the dyes to go for. If you dip your yarn in there, follow the manufacturer's instructions. If it doesn't take at all, if there's nothing going on when you've washed that, then you know that that's a synthetic dye. If it takes really well and the colour's vibrant, then you know that it's likely to be 100% a natural product. If it dyes a bit patchy, or some of it dyes and some of it doesn't, you'll know that it's likely to be a mix. So one day when I'm actually doing that, I work in fairly large batches, but one day when I'm doing that, I'll actually show you that as well. So in the meantime, back to the desk. So I hope that explains a few things. It's actually much easier. There's no mystery involved, and especially, like I said over there, test something that you know exactly what it is and you're 100% sure first, and then you'll see what happens to that particular yarn. That will give you an insight. When you're doing a test on something you don't know what it is, that will make it easier to identify that. Like I've said, there are lots of other tests, including dye tests and all kinds of things that we probably don't need to go into. You know, we dip things in acetone. We do all kinds of weird things to it. But this will give you a basic idea that, you know, the yarn is what it says on the label, and that more importantly, you can trust that supplier, that they're telling you exactly what it is. That's more why I do those tests when I'm getting something from, you know, somewhere I'm not 100% sure about. And I often ask myself, can I trust this supplier? Can I buy more things from them? So I hope that helps with that. That was a little bit shorter than usual. So for those who are going to leave us here who don't like the hate, please like and subscribe, because it really does help out the video. I did mention last week that, you know, we were getting a lot more subscribers, and I asked a special favour if you would just click the subscribe button for me. Really, it does help out the channel, and it does help to push these videos to a lot more people. And thank you so much to everybody that did subscribe, because we had over 1,000 subscribers on last week's video. So thank you very much indeed for that. So the hate this week, not quite sure how to respond to this. I've had a very serious question, and I've had this quite a few times. And the question was, she says, this is from Tina 82. One thing that makes me wonder and worried about is Temu's animal fibres: sheep's wool, mohair, alpaca, cashmere. Where do the materials come from, and how are the animals treated? Well, I will reiterate before we start, Temu don't actually do anything with those fibres. Temu don't make anything themselves. Temu, as I've said many times, and I'm getting a bit fed up of saying it, Temu is a sales platform that partners with manufacturers worldwide, all over the world. It's not just Chinese. And the materials or the product then comes direct to the consumer from that manufacturer, thus cutting out agents, wholesalers, retailers, etc., and hence the prices are quite a bit cheaper. Those manufacturers usually do supply other selling platforms that do use wholesalers and retailers, etc., which is why quite often you'll find exactly the same product on other platforms, even in shops, that will be an awful lot more expensive. So the manufacturer themselves, right at the beginning, are still getting exactly the same as what they were getting from Temu, for example. But there's just along the way, along the path of that product before it gets to you, there are other people that take a cut. So when they say, when the question is, you know, how do Temu treat the animals? Temu don't treat the animals at all. It's other people. Listed on certainly the UK site of Temu, it does say, you know, who the manufacturer is and all that kind of stuff. It really isn't hard to just click on there and do a little bit of research. I often say, do your research, love. It's what I say to these people. It's not hard. We've got access to these things all over the world. You can go and have a look, and you can see for yourself who the manufacturers are. There are lots of checks and balances over in China. The government, strangely, over there, contrary to popular belief, are quite strict on, you know, labour laws and the way things are manufactured, etc. There are places that perhaps do use child labour. There are places that perhaps are, you know, those checks and balances aren't in place. But you can go and have a look. You can go and research that, and you can find out for yourself. So in answer to this lady, I did put that a lot of production in China, for example, a lot of the wool comes from Australia. Again, do a little bit of research and you'll see the laws in Australia with sheep farming and fleece production aren't actually quite as strict as we have here in the UK. There are certain practices that happen to lambs that to prevent fly strike and all kinds of stuff that are against the law here in the UK. But again, do a little bit of research, find out that for yourself. And yarn is sent to China for processing from lots and lots of different places. It's not difficult to find out where that manufacturer is getting those fleeces from to process. So that was fair enough. That answered a genuine question that came in. But we had one particular person, a lady called Forget Me Not. I'd like to forget you, love. Because you really got on my nerves this week. It's unusual, that is, I must say. The main reason that she got on my nerves, everybody's entitled to their own opinions about these things, but she actually told lies about me, and that I don't stand for. I'm not having it. Are you listening? So she actually put, we went through quite a long, she was writing these long missives. I'm presuming by looking at the way that she writes, I'm not entirely sure that English is her first language. So I'll say that for one thing. If English is her first language, then I'm sorry, the woman's totally illiterate. That annoys me as well. If English isn't her first language, she's done all right. So she's talking about sheep being mule skinned, she calls it, and she's put that they are cut and stressed while gathering the fleece. That's actually not what that is. It's a practice that's illegal here in the UK. It's not illegal at the moment in Australia. They've just banned it in New Zealand. But it's a thing that they do. They actually take some skin off the hindquarters of lambs so that the fleece doesn't grow there, to prevent them from getting fly strike later on. And it's not a very nice practice. Do a bit of research on that and you'll find out. I don't agree with that at all. So there are reasons why in the vast majority of countries the practice is illegal. So she says that that's whilst gathering the fleece. It's not. That doesn't happen whilst gathering the fleece, so she's got that wrong. So she's put, it is also difficult to trace a yarn to a reputable producer, and for that, if you can do that, you would expect to pay higher prices, which is true. She then goes on, it looks like some people enjoying the yarn arts are living in La La Land. So she's not only having a go at me, she's having a go at all you as well. You're living in La La. I'm going to say it right in a minute. La La Land, you are living. Believing that beautiful yarn means no blood behind it, she says. It's kind of true, I suppose, really. The argument often is because need sheep to be sheared. Yes, they do, love. Sheep need to be sheared. For those who've watched the past videos, you'll actually know that my husband's family own a sheep farm. So I actually know about sheep and I know what needs to be done. If you've ever seen a rescue sheep, that hasn't been sheared, that's got fly strike, and they've got maggots eating into their skin, like I have, you understand why sheep need to be sheared. At shearing time on the farm, the sheep actually queue up. We don't need to make them go. They know what's going to happen to them. And the relief on them, they bound about. It's actually lovely to see after they've been sheared. So, oh dear. I don't know what happened there. We had a little pop with the lights. Did you did you see that? I'm going to carry on anyway. I think a bit of wee came out when that happened. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Did I better unplug that? I think I probably did. Hold on. There, it's unplugged now. I think I need to get some new lights. So, the thing that annoyed me about this woman, she put, no commercial animal fibre production is free from cruelty. That's actually a lie. There are a lot of companies, I'm about to do some reviews actually, that can trace, I mean, the fleeces back to literally the herd that it comes from, and they go and check and have a look, and you'll see later on when I do those. But then she put, Simon said in one of his videos, "Oh, is not so deep. We are just knitting, and I think it is reflective of everyday's inertia. Who cares if others suffer? Not me." Where did I ever say such a thing? Anybody who knows me and watches the videos know, one, that's not the way I talk, and two, I would never say such a thing. I was really cross at that she would actually put that out there, and you know, anybody reading that would think, oh yeah, Simon said that in one of his videos. One, it makes absolutely no sense at all. What do you mean, I think it is reflective of everyday inertia? What the hell does that mean? And why would I say that? And who cares if others suffer? Not me. No, that's not true. You are a liar. Do I look cross? That was my cross face. That was, I tried really hard to do a cross face. So, I actually said to her that, you know, I really wasn't very happy with that, and that she needs to, you know, either retract the statement or prove where it came from. And she put, because I put, you know, if you're going to quote me, make sure you get the quote right for a start. You know, one thing I didn't say that about yarn coming from many sources. When you actually say Simon said the yarn came from many sources, no, that's not what I said. I didn't say that. Crossface, that was. And also, you know, you put in here again, I'm going to put my glasses on for this. You actually put, you also said in relation to pandering, that what's going on with yarn and its provenance, in brackets, ethics, cruelty, exploitation, etc., is not so deep. You are just enjoying the hobby. What? What? A lie. That is a lie. I never said that on any video. You are a liar. So, I actually showed this. I'm very lucky that the amount of contacts I've got in various professions, let's say, let's put it that way. And I actually said to a legal advisor, just have a little look at this and see what you think. And he actually advised me to take action against her because it's bringing me and the channel in to disrepute. So I thought, I'll give her a go. I'll just make sure that one, she knows what she said is incorrect. The bit that, because I told her the bit that about when I said, I never said it's not so deep. I don't quite understand what that is. I actually said in relation to, do you remember when the science guy put a program out and everybody threw their hands up in horror because they didn't think that he was doing justice to people that have knit as a hobby? And I actually, and people were getting really cross about this bloke, and I was thinking, it wasn't terrible. He didn't know himself personally what he was talking about, and that was quite clear. However, you know, I said, oh, just relax, chill. It's only knitting. It's not life or death. That's what I said in relation to the science guy. This woman is saying that I said that in relation to animal cruelty and exploitation. She said in regards to that, I said those words. I didn't. So I got back to her, and this is on the advice of the legal advisor. I got back to her and said, point out the video where I said it and point out the timestamp where I said it. And she wrote back a missive that is probably the longest. It was pages, pages long. And she put this, at this moment, I have no time to find where it was. You've got time to write all this load of nonsense, but you haven't got time to find out the video that you're talking about and that you're spreading lies about me and about the video. So let's have a look. She said, you use the exact phrase, it is not so deep. That's in quotation marks. No, I didn't. Sorry, love. I've looked back through the videos. It's not anything I found. And I actually don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know what that means. And following this, you explained that this is the peaceful corner just to enjoy yarn and knitting. And then, in brackets, she's put, or something to this effect. If you're going to put things in quotation marks, love, you make sure it's exactly what I've said. Are you listening? Crossface, that was. What else does she put? This goes on and on and on. And she's put that I've got no idea what she's looking at. She says that I promote Temu and ethics should be an important part and parcel of it. Watch the videos. Just go back and watch the videos and see what I've said about the ethics of buying from Temu. And she's put, exactly because you are someone whom people can look up to. What? I appreciate that recycled yarn is expensive. Is recycled better? How is it made? It is made in China by children. You see, nothing is black and white. What? You are allowed to be this way. Literally, either the woman's absolutely illiterate or she's got severe problems. I think as a proper business owner, to keep yourself afloat, you need to have some credentials. as in the meat industry. And many of them do not keep up, but I like the badge. I've got no idea what you're talking about, love. I'm really sorry. So anyway, right at the bottom she puts, I hope that the long comment explains my view. No, it doesn't. But by all means, go ahead with legal advice. You can also block me. Stay tuned and see what I'm doing next. Oh, I hope she's seen. I haven't blocked her. You can pop on there and have a look, because I've left everything up, which I always do. Everybody that knows, the only time I took stuff down on there was some homophobic stuff and some anti-Semitic stuff, which I won't tolerate at all. At the moment, I'm tolerating this woman being libelous, but not for long. So, in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed that. In the meantime, put a comment, put comments. Now, there was actually another doozy. But today's doozy was enough of a doozy. So I'm going to do that doozy on next week's one. Thanks ever so much for, sending all this rubbish to me, because it does give me, some material to put on here. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Also, pop over and have a look what we're doing on the Patreon channel. I'll put the thing up there. We've just finished. What have we just finished? We've just finished a Fair Isle make along, and we're just about to start on a sock knit along, traditional sock knit along, which obviously coming up to Christmas is really handy. And I think we're going to do some gloves after that to go with the socks in the same yarn. So pop over there, have a little look. Like I said before, in the meantime, please like and subscribe. And very happy knitting, even though I'm cross today. Very happy knitting and crocheting and all that kind of stuff. Yarn smithing. I've got to say that properly, because a lot of people think I say yarn sniffing, but I don't care, because I do both. So very much love as always. Stay tuned. I'll see you really soon. Bye.